Happy Monday, everyone, and happy May long weekend. We have a fun time coming your way with some fun little options. We got 3 little workouts coming at you with some rest intervals in between. So I hope you guys have fun with this one. It's going to be a good time. So let's get ourselves ready for our warm-up. We have a Sumo Good Morning for 5, Sumo Squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, Windmill for 3 to 5 a side, Goblet Squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo. And then we move into some dumbbell standing march for 30 seconds and some butt kicks for 20 seconds just to get those legs kind of fired up on both halves of the body. We've got the front and the back taken care of here with a little bit of running work slash skill work here. So 1 to 2 rounds of that top piece. We're going to move into that next phase, which is going to be a little bit more dumbbell focus, where we're going to focus our attention to our dumbbell deadlift for 3, dumbbell hang power clean for 2, and a dumbbell front squat for 3. Just getting ourselves ready for all those different skills coming our way, and then finishing off with a little squat thrust practice for 3 to 5, and some cardio of choice. So depending on what you're choosing today in terms of your work set, we are going to practice that and get yourself ready for 30 seconds of work here. And then you'll hit that for 2 to 3 rounds, mix and matching some work, maybe throwing some different things in, and having fun with that to get you prepped. Now our workout today, our workout is a little bit of work. So what we got for you guys, piece number 1, or interval number 1, we have 3 rounds. You will take down dumbbell front squat for 10 reps, V-up for 12, and then you will run for 400 meters or 200 meters, or cardio of choice. You'll do that for 3 rounds. Then you'll rest 90 seconds, letting yourself kind of get yourself set up, kind of figured out. Then you'll move into your next interval for 3 rounds. Dumbbell hang power clean for 8 reps. Push up for 10. Run for 400 slash 200 meters, depending on where you want to go with that. Again, three rounds of work there, and then you'll rest for 90 seconds. And you'll get 1 more interval where you're going to take down 3 rounds. Dumbbell hang clean, so that is a hang squat clean, all right, for 6. And then you'll take down 8 squat thrusts, and then a run of 400 and 200 meters, or 200 meters, I should say, for 3 rounds. Then you're done. So you get to have some fun with that. We'll get to play. Preferably, we're keeping this the same weight for all 3 dumbbell movements. We're trying to keep that similar, a moderate to heavier load that you can move well. If you have a single dumbbell, you'll alternate. With the squat, you can do 5 and 5, but for the cleans, we'll alternate back and forth. But like I say, we're trying to keep the weight the same for all 3 and just have some fun with this workout. We're trying to keep those intervals as close to each other as we can. Let's get you warmed up. Let's get you ready for action. All right, let's get those feet under the hips. We'll take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're going to reach it over to one side. We'll come back through and reach it to the other side. Come back up, big scratch at the back, and reach through the elbow. Back up overhead, big stretch. Scratch your back with the other side, big reach through the elbow. Good, we'll come back up. We'll bring those hands out to the T. We'll turn them in, turn them out, turn them in, and turn them out, and turn them in, and turn them out. Big stretch. We'll reach it over again, 1 more time per side. And we're going to take it all the way down to the floor, touching those toes. So from here, we're going to walk up the shins, nice flat back. We're going to roll it down the body as we step back with 1 foot into our lizard lunge. Strong legs here. We're going to take that inside hand to the sky. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up, big stretch. Rotate forearm to the floor. Come back up. And 1 more time, rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up, big stretch. Plant the hand. We'll step back into our down dog. Reaching through those hips, just walk those heels out a few times. Nice and gentle, back and forth. Nice and easy. Really waking up those legs a bit. We'll come back into our plank, step 1 foot up. We'll take that inside hand all the way back up overhead again. Rotating forearm to the floor. We'll come back up. And rotate forearm to the floor. And back up. And rotate forearm to the floor. Come back up. Plant that hand. Step it back into our down dog. Reaching those hips. Just walk those heels out again, nice and gentle. Just taking your time here. We'll come back into our plank. We'll tiptoe those feet up. We're going to roll ourselves up, big stretch. Reach to one side. Reach it to the other side. Oh, come down with those hands. Woo. Let's get you guys fired up. If there's anything else you'd like to take down in the warm-up, some gentle stuff here, please do so. Take your time. And we're gonna get you ready on this first phase, which is gonna cover most of our lower body and a little bit of run work. So let's get you guys ready to go. Alright guys, let's start off with our sumo good morning. So we're gonna get ourselves set up with our feet in a slightly wider stance, toes slightly turned out, and nice and tall through those hips. I'm gonna turn profile so you can see that hip hinge. So nice and tall, we're gonna squeeze the glutes and set the ribs, so we're nice and set through the ribs. And we can use that hand reference if you'd like to make sure we're not breaking or pushing through the rib cage. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the hips back in that nice hinge, keeping the big toe down, and then we're gonna stand and squeeze into that nice full tall position. So we're just coming up to that nice neutral position. We're not trying to tuck under through the pelvis or push too far forward through the hips. Just pulling back, making sure that we have that nice hinge in the hip, and then stand tall and open those hips up fully. From here, we're gonna stay in our sumo stance, and we're gonna work on a sumo squat. So from here, we're just gonna have those toes slightly turned out. We're gonna think about our normal squat mechanics, but we're gonna push our knees out just a little bit more than normal. So we're gonna sit that body down towards the heels, knees go slightly out to the side as we keep that chest up nice and tall, and we push through those feet, stand up nice and upright. So again, hips to heels, knees go slightly out, nice and tall, and we push through those legs and stand nice and upright. So again, we're working with those same squat mechanics, but trying to push those knees up just a tad more. Now our next phase still sticks with that sumo stance. We're gonna work on that hinge with some rotation. So we take one arm overhead, maintaining that good overhead position. We reach our other hand down towards the floor. We're gonna pull our hip back and rotate at the low rib as we focus on maintaining that strong shoulder angle up here. And then we come back up. So that shoulder will end up pointing that way, but we are starting here, and as we rotate through the chest, that is what rotates the shoulder, not the shoulder on its own. So we really have to focus on that shoulder moving with the torso, not on its own accord. So take your time with those. Don't worry about going all the way to the floor. Move slow, move steady. When we're done our windmill per side, we're gonna grab our dumbbell, or you can keep it air squat, it's up to you. But we're gonna work with that dumbbell in that goblet squat. So we're gonna hold the dumbbell up under the chin. Our feet are going to be our squat stance, so just outside the hips and our shoulders. Nice and tall. We are gonna squeeze and set the ribs. We're gonna take the hips down towards the heels, knees going out to the outside, and standing tall. So we don't have to worry about those knees being pushed out as much as we did in that sumo stance, but we do still want them to track the toes. So a little outward pressure is always good. Now after that, you can keep the dumbbell in the goblet, or you can turn it sideways and hold it against the chest in that kind of Zercher style, and we're gonna work on a standing march. With the standing march, we're gonna shift our weight a bit and then lift our foot up, and then shift to the other side. And we're gonna work on keeping that balancing leg nice and straight, not locked out, but definitely engaged and straight. So we just don't want that leg to buckle as I lift my foot. So as I lift that opposite leg, we want to only lift as high as we can maintain our position through that leg, and that our mobility will allow. So take your time with those, work nice and smooth. You got 30 seconds. You don't have to try and crush your soul, but just keep those knees moving, try and get them high as you can, but listening to that balancing leg. After that, we put the dumbbell down. We're gonna work on some running skill work. We're gonna work on our butt kick pose method. So I'm gonna turn sideways so you can see. I'm gonna try and keep my foot relaxed, and I'm gonna pull my heel up under the glute so the knee goes slightly forward, and then we put it down. And you'll see that that foot comes up and under that glute as I work on finding that nice pose position, okay? So we want to make sure that we're feeling our hamstring pull the foot up, not our quad. So in the first one we did, the dumbbell standing march, it's all quad and hip. This one, we work by pulling the heel with the hamstring and feel that nice gentle pull. So, quick little recap. We have our Sumo Good Morning for 5, Sumo Squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, Windmill 3 to 5 per side, Goblet Squat for 3 at a 3-1-3 tempo, Dumbbell Standing March for 30 seconds, and a butt kick in the pose position for 20 seconds. Have some fun with that. You got 1 to 2 rounds, see where it takes you, and pause the video, take that down. We'll move into the next phase where we're going to review the dumbbell work. All right. With the dumbbells now, we're going to focus our attention on our clean and our front squat. So what we're going to start off with is a dumbbell deadlift. So again, we're kind of using this dumbbell deadlift as a tool to get that dumbbell to the hang. So personally, if you're using a single dumbbell, the sumo deadlift is the way to go. Even if you're using a double, I think the sumo is a really nice and efficient way to do this because it'll be a little easier to get yourself down to the dumbbell with good position. So what we're going to do is stand right over top of the dumbbell or dumbbells. We're going to stand nice and tall. We're going to pull at that hip position to get that good hinge. Then we're going to lower ourselves down. And our hip is going to be a little lower than normal because it's a little longer trip. And we are going to stand up tall. From here, we're just going to work to our edge. So we're going to take that hip back and down, keeping that chest up nice and upright, and working on that nice back position in our deadlift. Working to our edge so we can work on our mobility here as we focus on our weight to our midfoot, keeping that weight from our toes or too far heels. So right smack dab in the middle. Once we're done our 3 deads, we're going to bring our feet either together or keep them in that squat position and work on our clean. So regardless of where I take the dumbbell, between the knees or to the outside, the hinge of the body is the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the dumbbell to the knee. We're going to push through those legs and hips, driving up, landing in that little power position, and standing tall. So we get that nice position as we hinge to the back, same as our deadlift hinge. Push through those legs, pull into that little power position, that little power squat. And you'll notice how close the dumbbell stays to me. Regardless of it being to the outside, or between the feet or between the knees, the dumbbell stays nice and close to my body, not letting it whip out in front like a big swing. Because we're not kettlebell swinging, we're cleaning. So we want to make sure the dumbbell is coming vertical up the body and not out in front. All right. So from there, once we get that dumbbell up into that front rack position, we set ourselves up in that squat stance, adjusting our feet if we need to, and basically following those same principles we did in our goblet squat or our air squat. We draw the hips to the heels, the knees track the toes. The only difference is the placement of the dumbbell. So we have to focus on a little bit more pressure into the dumbbell through that side body and through the arm. So we push into the dumbbell as we take the hips down, and then we stand up nice and tall. So working on that nice front squat, because that's where we're starting the workout, and that's what we're going to be pulling into in our hang clean. So we have that opportunity to work on that nice full range that we have for ourselves, allowing ourselves the best posture possible. Now, after our front squat, we're going to practice our squat thrust. So our squat thrust is that non-push-up burpee. We're using that in the workout today for a reason, because we have push-ups in our middle work set. So we want to make sure that we're allowing ourselves to really hone in that squat thrust, because for some of us who do burpees all the time, it's kind of second nature to just let those elbows soften as we lower down. So with the squat thrust, what I want you guys to really focus on is either jumping back into that hip plank or stepping back into that plank, or a combination of those two things. So the big focus here is that nice, strong, locked out arm, shoulder active and pushing through the floor, hand underneath the shoulder the entire time. So we're locking that upper body in really, really well. And when we land, we're keeping that core really, really solid so that we can maintain that really solid hip plank position. So we're not getting that little sway back when we jump our feet up. So really honing in those two things, keeping those arms strong. After our squat thrust of 3 to 5 per practice, we're going to do cardio of choice. So that could be a little run, could be some butt kicks, could be some jump over, some skipping, rowing, whatever you have chosen to do in your workout. I want you just to practice it for about 30 seconds, or something that's going to get you ready for that movement for 30 seconds. That might be ankle pops if you're skipping. Who knows? Whatever you'd like to practice, you can play with it and have some fun with it. Now what we have here as a quick recap, dumbbell deadlift for 3, dumbbell hang power clean for 2, dumbbell front squat for 3. If you're using one dumbbell, flip sides, do it again. Then you're going to move into a squat thrust for 3 to 5, cardio of choice for 30 seconds. Repeat, getting yourself ready to go, changing or adding anything else in there that you need to get yourself ready for this work set. And we're going to get there. We're almost there, you guys. We're at to the work set now. So let's go over those movements in the workout and get you ready to go. All right, everyone, the workout is here. We have the movements that we have for our work set. We have our dumbbell front squat for 10 to kickstart off the workout. Now, we've covered the front squat in our previous portion of our warm-up, so if you need any points of performance, please do so. Scroll back, check those out. But in this workout, what we're looking at is we're looking at 10 reps. If you're using 2 dumbbells, you'll do 10 total. If you're doing a single, you'll do 5 and 5. So 10 total reps each round. Once you're done your front squat, you're gonna move into your V-up. So we have quite a few options for our V-up. All right, so what we have is that full V-up, that double leg, trying to meet in the middle. So what we're doing, we're coming down, in that nice position here. We're gonna get set in that hollow and pull the legs and the arms together as we meet in the middle. Now if you're looking at that double being a little bit too much, we have the single reaching up towards the toes as we alternate feet back and forth. Our next variation is very similar to that, is our tuck up. So we have the same kind of motion, same positioning, except our knees are bent. So I get set, I meet in the middle, into that tuck position. I can also do that single leg, working on meeting at that midpoint. So both halves of my body are working about the same amount of work. Now from that, I'm gonna lay on my back. We're gonna get into a nice hollow up. So if that hinging pattern is a little bit too much with both the lower and the upper body, we can still get that similar kind of contraction working through the hollow up. So we're gonna pull our ribs and hips together so that sternum to belly button is gonna get closer together. And we're gonna pull it in that little hollow, with a little pulse, and come back down. It's not very high, it's not super aggressive, but what we wanna think about is if we're like, 2 feet, I can't get that low back down, then think single leg. So that lower back, as we pull the ribs and hips together, that low back makes a nice seal in contact with the floor. So there's no space between those things. So go single leg if you have a hard time getting that low back against the floor. Now, a personal favorite of mine as well is that laying toe touch. This is a little slower of an option in this workout, but it will allow you to get a really good core engagement. So our legs go straight up in that V or L position. I reach my arms up, I pull my ribs in, reach for my shoelaces, and I come down. The big thing here is that I'm not using momentum. I'm squeezing my ribs, my sternum and my belly button together as I try and just touch my shoelaces if I can. It's very challenging, it's a hard movement, but we want to make sure that we're doing that slower than faster. Now our last option today as well is going to be that nice pike sit up. So we sit ourselves up nice and long, reaching for those toes, trying to touch as far down the body as I can, listening to my hamstrings, listening to that hinge, and allowing myself to use a little bit of momentum on that sit up. So we want to make sure that we're allowing those arms to use that momentum to swing up and over. It's a little faster, it's a little more smooth. It also gives you a nice hamstring stretch. So we have our pike sit up to close out our V-up options. We have 12 reps of that. Then we move into our cardio piece of choice, a run of 400 meters or 200, or an equivalent to that distance and work set. Check that workout description, we'll have tons of options there for you. You'll rest 90 seconds, you'll move into the next piece. We have that dumbbell hang power clean, which we also again reviewed in that earlier piece of our work set. Which if you need some review, scroll back, take that down, get those points of performance, and rock that movement. So we have 8 reps. You can choose to alternate, or you can do 4 and 4. It's up to you. If you're more comfortable doing half and half, awesome. If you want to alternate back and forth, alternate back and forth. From there, we move into our push-up. And our push-up, we have multiple ways of doing that. We have that elevated surface push-up on an ottoman, counter, chair, whatever you've been using or have at home that you can work on that range for you. Do so, have some fun. We also have 3 variations on the floor. So with our variations on the floor, we get those hands just outside those shoulders, under the shoulders we'll say as well, pushing the shoulders up to the sky, and we establish that nice good plank position. So nice and long, nice and straight. I'm gonna come forward and down, touching my chest to the floor, coming all the way back up in that full extension through the arms. Keeping in mind that all of these variations start in this little tripod, all right, at the bottom, and finish in that nice tall plank position. So we come down through that tripod position, head and hands creating that little triangle, and or if you want to think of it as an arrow, top of my head to my elbows create a little arrowhead or a pointer that we use to maintain that nice 45-degree at the armpit of the arm. So we use that, we keep that going throughout all these different variations. The biggest thing, we want to maintain that nice tight core as we're coming forward and slicking down. Now our other option is kind of that mid-range option, so it's going to help us build some strength on the way down because we have that full lower. As I hit the ground, I lower my knees, push through my knees up to my toes. So I lower forward and down, knees touch, press, and straighten out my legs. Each rep finishes at the top of my plank, but the hardest part about this movement that we've talked about before is maintaining that tension as we drop our knees to the floor. As the knees touch the ground, we have to make sure that we don't loosen our body or our midline because the knees are touching the floor. They're just there to help get us off the ground. So make sure we're maintaining that good tight core position. That lovely humeral glide movement that we work on often in our work sets is a perfect example of that movement. We maintain that good solid hip to shoulder position as we maintain that knee push. Our last exercise is our knee push-up. But I'd like you all to start from that plank position because this is going to allow us to get nice and engaged through this plank, lower the knees so we're in that good hollow position, and then I can come forward and down again, maintaining that good position as I build that tripod strength and build that nice solid position that's going to help further myself through my journey in the push-up. So take your time, set through the plank, lower the knees, then start your push-up so that you're in great position. After the push-ups, you're going to move into that cardio piece of choice. Again, that equivalent to that run of 400 to 200 meters, and then rock those rounds, rest 90 seconds, and finish off with our last little work set, which is a dumbbell hang clean. And I'm just going to demonstrate a couple of these variations, because with this dumbbell hang clean, what we're doing is we're joining the hang power clean and the front squat together. So what we do, we deadlift that dumbbell up to the hip. You can either take it from the side or you can take it from between the feet, depending on what you're using for dumbbells. And what you're going to do is you're going to get that good hinge and you're going to pull into that full squat. You can either alternate or do all on one side. So from the outside, it looks like so. Dumbbell to the knee, pull into that full squat, and then continue on. So we're hitting the depth and range that we have for our squat. So whatever you were hitting in that front squat, that's what we're aiming for in our hang clean. All right? So we start from the high hang, move into that hinge, pull into that full squat, and execute that nice movement. We have 6 reps. You can do 3 and 3, or you can alternate. Same rules apply as we did for the hang power clean, and then continue on moving with your squat thrust for 8 reps. So the squat thrust, again, we covered that pretty heavily in our warm-up. If you'd like to scroll back and get some info on that, please do so. But take these down, think about them as maintaining that good strong plank and that good shoulder focus, all right? We're not lowering today, so really focus on that good quality movement, hitting that good plank, and coming back out. And then last but not least, in the last portion of this work set, you finish off with your run or cardio of choice. So as a quick recap, once again, how this takes down, we have 3 rounds, dumbbell front squat for 10, V-up for 12, run 400/200 meters. You're gonna do that 3 times, then you'll rest 90 seconds. You'll move into the next one, 3 rounds, dumbbell hang power clean for 8, push-up for 10, run 400 or 200 meters, 3 rounds of that, rest 90 seconds, 3 rounds of dumbbell hang clean for 6, squat thrust for 8, run 400, and then 200 meters. 3 rounds of that, done. All right, so it's quite a bit of work. We have lots of stuff to take down today. They're all kind of variations of each other, so it's gonna be a fun little kind of building work set. So I hope you guys have fun. Now with this work set, check the bottom workout description. There will be some scaling options for you all to kind of make this yours, some rep, round, all that kind of stuff. There'll be lots of different options for this to make this workout your own. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy the last day of our long weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow for some great fun. All right? As always, you guys, enjoy, work for quality, enjoy your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, you guys.